Alright everybody, welcome to a new series on the channel. This is War on the Sea. It's a World War II real-time strategy game where we're going to take control of the US Navy on their mission to take control of Guadalcanal. Now, we also have some other objectives to achieve victory in this game. Particularly, we need to maintain control of all of the islands that we have right now, and we need to take the islands of Renell and I believe Santa Cruz, and I believe New Florida as well. Alongside that, we do need to build a max level airfield on Guadalcanal. So for that, we need to construct fleets, which I should be building fleets on screen right now. But I'll put up an image so that you can see kind of the fleets that I'm going with. Particularly, I don't remember the names of the ships, but they should be on screen right now. But I'm going with 5 submarines, and they're really going to be our first line of defense. I'll go into the game plan as well a little bit later, but the subs will be our first line of defense, and then I'm going to have a above sea battle group, we'll call it. It's going to consist of cruisers and destroyers. They're really going to go after the ships that get past our submarines as soon as I'm comfortable with them going after them. I'm not confident in my naval gameplay as much as I am my aircraft. So as soon as I'm confident, they'll be going after the fleets that get past the subs. And last but not least, I have a supply convoy. The supply convoy is pretty self-explanatory, but it's going to be ferrying troops and supplies to these unoccupied islands, as well as serving as the invasion force for Guadalcanal once we're ready. How this game works, though, you have command points, what they're called. You get a weekly income of command points based off the islands you own, but you also get points for sinking ships. And basically my game plan with these fleets is going to be that we're probably going to expand our submarine fleet in the area and really kind of put as many subs in the water as we can and just be relentless under the water. But also, the 2 most expensive ships in the game are battleships and aircraft carriers. And if you know anything about history, you know that the aircraft carriers really kind of ended the era of the battleship. If you look at our Navy today, we have aircraft carriers, and then we have destroyers and missile boats and some drone ships, mainly smaller ships and aircraft carriers. It's because of World War II. The U.S. made great use of their aircraft carriers throughout the war. Most notably, the Japanese flagship, the battleship Yamato. We sank it very late in the war, and I believe we sank it with planes from an aircraft carrier. And with that event, it really kind of ended the era of the battleship, and kind of the world realized that any navy that's going to be a force to be reckoned with is going to have a lot of aircraft carriers. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do fleet-wise, but I need command points to do that. So I'm not going to have aircraft carriers yet, but the battle group might be the foundations of that carrier fleet that I'm going to build, because we are going to need to protect that carrier at all costs. So onto the game plan here, and I'll put an image on screen of where everything's going, what things are going to be doing, but basically I have the drawing made, but it's a very basic drawing. But basically the subs are going to go up north, and they're going to patrol the islands, and they're going to like I said earlier, they're going to be our first line of defense. They're going to hit the supply convoys, the invasion forces, and be kind of that scouting party for us. The battle group is going to be patrolling the island of Renel, which is in the middle of the map. That is not only one of our objectives for the game, but that's also a very, very good place to build an airfield, because if we do that, we can hit anything on the middle of the map, which is very powerful. I'm putting ships there because I do not want the Japanese to sneak in and steal it from me before I have the chance. And the supply convoy, instead of going straight up north to Renel, I want to close off the island directly above Port Moresby. That is a very dangerous island. If it falls into the Japanese hands, they can build an airfield, and kind of like Renel, where if I build an airfield on Renel, I can hit the middle of the map, which is largely controlled by the Japanese right now. If the Japanese take that island up north, they can hit me. So I'm blocking that off right away. So I'm sending the supply convoy up there, and then once they drop off the troops and supplies on that island, they'll come back and go to Renel. And that's the start of my game plan for now. I'm also going to be sending up plane patrols, aircraft patrols, and kind of what I said earlier, I'm much more confident in my aircraft game than I am my naval game right now. And basically my philosophy is I send out scout planes and pretty much flights of 1 or 2 planes to patrol different parts of the ocean, and if anything's there, I can take a look at it, see what the fleet composition is, and any planes that I have left on the airfields, I pretty much just mass send them into that area in hopes of causing more damage. The primary plane, I think you'll see it in this episode, but I'm not sure. I don't want to spoil too much, but a lot of the planes that I use are B-17s, at least to start. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But that is my opening plan here. So one day later at about 6 a.m. our battle group gets first contact with the enemy. You can see here the cruiser Brooklyn leading the way, and almost immediately after we spawn in, we are getting reports of torpedoes in the water, and we are already taking evasive actions as I'm looking around to try to spot these torpedoes. And I'm very fortunate that whoever is commanding these submarine is a complete doofus, because he was pretty much right beside us, as you can start to see the wake of those torpedoes in the water. And I'm already kind of turning port to get away from those torpedoes, and I actually do him a solid right here, because I am so eager to get behind this submarine that I start to turn my destroyer into the torpedoes before they pass. Basically I have two destroyers in this battle group specifically for submarine warfare. As you can see, the torpedoes going past the USS Mayo right now. Brooklyn and Benson have already turned around, so fortunately, as we were picking it up on sonar now, Mayo did take the lead on this attack. As you can see here, the Mayo is spinning around to get a position behind the submarine. Basically both the Mayo and the Benson in this group are here to fight submarines. They have sonar and they have depth charges. The Brooklyn, New Orleans, and Astoria, they just have radar, but they exist for their scout planes and because they have a little bit better guns for ground combat. So right here I am being a bit of a doofus, trying to get these ships into position as we flip over to the Benson to get the Benson sorted, and I'm still trying to figure out how to move the Mayo into position without crashing into my cruisers. Eventually I figure it out. A little bit of time has passed, and now we are coming up directly over top of the Japanese submarine. We have our fire orders put in for the depth charges. We're going to drop 4 times depth charges with a 5-second fuse into the water here. We were just waiting to get into position as we are directly above this submarine here, and we fire off our depth charges. You can see the Benson in the background waiting to see how this depth charge attack goes, to see if we'll need to get into position with her. But right now the Mayo depth charges are going off, and we wait and listen on our sonar to see if these are good hits or not. I did make a slight adjustment at the very end of this where I slowed the Mayo down a little bit. I thought I was going a little too fast. As these final depth charges hit the water and detonate, we sit here for a second and come to the realization that our depth charge attack was not very good. That submarine is still up, and sure enough, it was completely undamaged. So a little bit of time has passed now, and the Benson is now on her attack run. She has the submarine directly in front of her and about to go over top of her. We've made a slight adjustment to our depth charges here. We're going to drop 5 times depth charges at 6-second views and see if that works a little bit better. We did come to the realization that she was a little bit deeper in the water than we initially expected. And we are now right on top of her. And as we go over top of her, both the Benson and the Mayo are about to lose contact on this sub. Right there, we lose contact. I kind of figured now or never, since we lost contact, and the Benson has fired her depth charges off the back of her ship. And in just a second, we will see these depth charges go off as they sink into the water. And there they go, starting to detonate. And you can see in the background the Mayo spinning around to see if she needs to make another attack run, and those cruisers very far in the background backing off and letting the destroyers do their job as these depth charges continue to detonate. We look underwater to see if we can spot anything from here. We can't see anything. We can't hear anything. I'm starting to move the Mayo into position for another attack, and we get confirmation that we have sunk the Japanese submarine. The Benson's attack was successful, and we were able to sink that ship. We go underwater, and you can hear the ship creaking, and it's probably starting to crush under the pressure of the water. And we have our first kill of the campaign. Here is the after action report, gives us confirmation. We sunk 1 Japanese submarine for over 3,000 tons, 1 command point. We were completely undamaged in the attack. And about an hour later, one of our scout planes has spotted something in the distance. Visibility, oh, there they are right there. That looks to be a battle group. Those aren't battleships, are they? Definitely have... Those look like cruisers, destroyers. I'm not sure if that's a... ship or not. A battleship? No, that's too small to be a battleship. It's gotta be a... something. That looks like a Aoba class Cruiser, heavy cruiser. Yeah. Well, is it? Yeah, that's a cruiser. No battleship, thankfully. I think that's a Farutka. Yeah, so those are light cruisers and those are destroyers. So this is just a battle group. Nothing more here to do. Just a scout plane. So we're gonna bank right. Get the heck out of here. They do definitely have a more... Well, they have more ship than I do at the moment. Nothing we can really do about it. We're gonna let the timer count down and we're gonna get out of here. Yes, and as old me was flying away from this fleet, I was starting to think about what the best course of action was for this fleet, if anything at all. And as I was flying away, we were able to leave the combat zone and go back to the board where we were going to be able to see where this fleet was, more or less. So you can see on the map here that the yellow plane is exactly where that fleet was spotted. We do have some planes in the area, so we figured that we would send a few planes up and see if we can't get some harassment onto that fleet. Okay, so we do have two B-17s. Oh, and there they are. Oh. Yeah, that's this battle group from before. Okay. So I gotta remember how to pitch up here. We're carrying two bombs each, so we got 4 bombs to drop. And I would like to try to get above their anti-aircraft fire if possible. So it's just... Okay, we've got our 2 targets. We're going to target those heavy cruisers. Probably get shot down before we even get the chance. Let's attack. So we are gonna line up here. Coming in. There's the fleet. Just over there. Right there. There they are. Good luck, fellas. Bomb bay doors are open. We are on the bombing run. Should probably be met with some fire here from the ships. So far it's looking okay. Yep, they spotted us. You can see them turning. They're starting to weave. It's gonna make hitting these guys rather difficult. Let's see. Oh, here comes anti-aircraft fire. Maybe. I shot it. Oh, there it is. Yep. Oh god, look at those shells. Okay. I think we're out of range of their anti-aircraft. They might be only able to hit us with flak. Here comes the flak now. Oh god, there's the AA fire. Okay. Okay. It's okay. There we go. There goes our bombs. We're really high up though, so this is gonna be a little... Uh-oh! We got shot down. Looks like the bombs missed. And there goes our B-17. Get a hit for us? Nope. It's unfortunate. Wow, we lost the B-17. This guy's gonna get away with it. I think they both dropped their bombs, right? You don't have bombs on here anymore, do you? Nope. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. So as you guys saw, that attack was a miss. However, in a stroke of good timing, I actually had a group of 7 B-17s at a nearby airfield that were ready to go up and hit this fleet again. However, before we got that opportunity, one of our Kingfisher scout planes had found something else. Okay, and a little bit later, we do have another group out here, another fleet. This is a different battle group than the one we just saw. It's a little bit more north of that one that we were hitting with bombers and the like. It's actually the same composition though. We got 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, and 2 destroyers. We just have a Kingfisher scout plane here, so not much we can do other than observe them, but they are... Well, they're north of the New Florida Islands, which is where we were hitting that first group. So we have 2 sizable Navy groups, or sizable battle groups here, patrolling. We really only have 1, so we're gonna have to rely on our submarines here to really do some damage. I mean, they look like the same exact ships too. Like, those look like the Albas or whatever they're called. Oops. Yeah, those look like Aobas. Aobas. Are those Teneries? No, I think those are Kumas. Kuma class cruisers. So we got Albas, Kumas, and those are destroyers. Yeah, we're a little too far away to get an accurate read on those, but... So, after this Kingfisher disengaged, it took the B-17s about 6 hours to get to their destination. It was a flight of 7 B-17s, and they were able to eventually track down the fleet that we were trying to hit. Right, okay. So at 3:13 in the afternoon on August 8th, we have sent up 7 B-17s, and we do have that battle group. So as these B-17s began to make their bombing run, I couldn't help but start to wonder, what would the bomber mafia think of me trying to precision bomb a Japanese warship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? I'm actually reading a very interesting book right now called The Bomber Mafia, and it talks about the first members of our Air Force. At the time it was the Army Air Force, and they got their hands on strategic bombers, B-17s for example, and it really asks and answers the questions, well, how are we going to use these things? Because before World War II we didn't have them, and we needed to come up with a philosophy and a battle doctrine on how we were going to use these. And it goes into detail about two different ways of thinking about strategic bombings. The bomber mafias was one way of thinking, and it was pretty much everybody else's way. And everybody else's way was the mentality of thinking, as two B-17s come together to make a B-52, maybe. That's a dumb joke. But anyways, I digress. Everybody else's way of thinking was kind of morale bombing. You don't need to aim at a target. You just need to fly over a city and drop all your shit and wipe out the city. Nazi Germany did this to Britain. Britain did it to Germany. The British commander of the bombers, they called him Bomber Harris. He was the mastermind behind the Dresden fire bombings, if you know what that is. If you don't, I'll link it in the description. I don't think I can show pictures, but maybe I can. But that was kind of the mentality of wipe everybody out and the survivors won't want to fight you anymore. The bomber mafia didn't really believe in indiscriminately killing people. They wanted to fight the enemy from a manufacturing standpoint. They wanted to come over and precision strike a factory, for example. One of the stories the book goes into is they decided to hit ball bearing factories, and basically the mentality is if you cripple their factories and their war economy, they won't be able to replace all their supplies. And the book is really interesting. If you're into history, I recommend giving it a go. But I'm going to get back to old me, who's coming in on a bombing run right now. I believe this one is going for these heavy cruisers. Bombs away. Let's take a look at the second group now. There goes their bombs. Good luck, fellas. Ooh, we got a hit on that one. And they drifted. Why did we not? We got a couple hits. Why did we all go for this guy? Y'all were supposed to go after different targets here. Oh, and we are taking hits. We've taken hits. So, what you saw there was yet another one of my strategic blunders. They were supposed to hit 4 different targets, but I screwed up the order and they all went after the same target. However, we did score a number of pretty good hits on the midsection of this cruiser. As you can see, we were looking at it through binoculars and it was putting out a lot of smoke. More smoke than I was expecting. So my intuition got the better of me and I turned this B-17 around because I started to feel like that ship was a lot more damaged than I thought it was. So I wanted to hang a B-17 around to see if this wouldn't get worse over time. The others were able to escape without issue. This B-17 was going to be nowhere near the fleet, so that it was going to be out of harm's way, but you can see it almost comes to a stop. And we can get here a live look at this cruiser. You can see it is laying down a lot of smoke. It's listing just a little bit, almost coming to a stop in some areas, but definitely sitting lower in the water. Definitely listing just a little bit. You can see the burn marks on the side of the ship where those bombs hit very critical pieces of this ship. And as time progressed, we flipped back to the B-17, we watched from the binoculars, and sure enough, this cruiser catches on fire. She is burning, and she is much lower in the water, and she is very much ablaze. Definitely listing deeper in the water, and this was definitely an unexpected development here as we watch this ship. We speed up time, but unfortunately, as it was just starting to get very interesting, she was able to escape the battle zone. Unfortunately, it was a bit of an unlucky situation. I felt like that ship could have very easily sunk if we hung around, but unfortunately, they're going to go and get that ship probably repaired, and we'll see it again. So, as you can see here from the map view, amidst all the air combat that we had in the bombing runs, our supply convoy has gone up and occupied that island to our north. We tried to get some more B-17s over to that fleet, however they ran out of daylight. They were coming from Australia, so they were pretty far away. Our subs there, you can see them traveling in groups. They are starting to get to their patrol zones, but looking at how long this video is already, I'm going to have to save days 2, 3, and 4 for another video, so we're going to end it here. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and we hope to see you in the next video.